Beowulf, translated by Lesslie Hall. Book 3. Grendel the Murderer. When the sun was sunken, he set out to visit the lofty hall building, how the Ringdanes had used it for beds and benches when the banquet was over. Then he found there reposing many a noble, asleep after supper. Sorrow the heroes, misery knew not. The monster of evil, greedy and cruel, tarried but little, fell and frantic, and forced from their slumbers 30 of Thane-men. Thence he departed, leaping and laughing, his lair to return to, with surfeit of slaughter sallying homeward. In the dusk of the dawning, as the day was just breaking, was Grendel's prowess revealed to the warriors. Then, his meal-taking finished, a moan was uplifted, morning cry mighty. The man-ruler famous, the long-worthy Atheling, sat very woeful, suffered great sorrow, sighed for his liegemen. When they had seen the track of the hateful pursuer, the spirit accursed, too crushing that sorrow, too loathsome and lasting, not longer he tarried, but one night after continued his slaughter, shameless and shocking, shrinking but little from malice and murder. They mastered him fully. He was easy to find then, who otherwhere looked for a pleasanter place of repose in the lodges, a bed in the bowers. Then was brought to his notice, told him truly by token apparent, the Hall-thane's hatred. He held himself after, further and faster, who the foeman did baffle. So ruled he, and strongly strove against justice, lone against all men, till empty uptowered the choicest of houses. Long was the season, 12 winters' time, torture suffered the friend of the Scyldings. Every affliction, endless agony. Hence it after became, certainly known to the children of men, sadly in measures, that long against Hrothgar Grendel struggled. His grudges he cherished, murderous malice, many a winter, strife unremitting, and peacefully wished he life woe to lift from no liegeman at all of the men of the Dane-folk. For money to settle, no counsellor needed count for a moment on handsome amends at the hand of the murderer. The monster of evil fiercely did harass the ill-planning death-shade, both elder and younger, trapping and tricking them. He trod every night then the mist-covered moor-fens. Men do not know where, witches and wizards wander and ramble. So the foe of mankind, many of evils, grievous injuries, often accomplished. Horrible hermit! Hereat he frequented gem-bedecked palace, when nightshades had fallen. Since God did oppose him, not the throne could he touch, the light-flashing jewel, love of him knew not. 'Twas a fearful affliction to the friend of the Scyldings, soul-crushing sorrow. Not seldom in private sat the king in his council. Conference held they, what the braves should determine, 'gainst terrors unlooked for. At the shrines of their idols often they promised gifts and offerings. Earnestly prayed they the devil from hell would help them to lighten their people's oppression. Such practice they used then, hope of the heathen. Hell they remembered in innermost spirit, God they knew not, judge of their actions, all-wielding ruler, No praise could they give the guardian of heaven, the wielder of glory. Woe will be his who, through furious hatred, his spirit shall drive to the clutch of the fire. No comfort shall look for, wax no wiser. Well for the man who, living his life days, his Lord may face, and find defense in his Father's embrace. Book 4. Beowulf goes to Hrothgar's assistance. So Halfdan's kinsman constantly mused on his long-lasting sorrow. The battle-thane clever was not anywise able evils to scape from. Too crushing the sorrow that came to the people, loathsome and lasting, the life-grinding torture, greatest of night woes. So Higelac's liegeman, good among Geatmen, of Grendel's achievements heard in his home. Of heroes then living, he was stoutest and strongest, sturdy and noble. He bade them prepare him a bark that was trusty. He said he, the war king, would seek o'er the ocean, the folk leader noble, since he needed retainers. For the perilous project, prudent companions chided him little, though loving him dearly. They egged the brave atheling, augured him glory. The excellent knight from the folk of the Geatmen had liegemen selected, likest to prove them trustworthy warriors. With 14 companions, the vessel he looked for. A liegeman then showed them, a sea-crafty man, the bounds of the country. Fast the days fleeted. The float was a water, the craft by the cliff. Clomb to the prow then, well-equipped warriors. The wave-currents twisted the sea on the sand. Soldiers then carried, on the breast of the vessel, bright shining jewels, handsome war armor. Heroes outshoved then, warmen the wood ship, on its wished-for adventure. The foamy-necked floater, fanned by the breeze, likest a bird, glided the waters. Till 24 hours thereafter, the twist-stemmed vessel had travelled such distance that the sailing men saw the sloping embankments, the sea cliffs gleaming, precipitous mountains, nesses enormous. They were nearing the limits at the end of the ocean. Up thence quickly the men of the Weders clomb to the mainland, fastened their vessel, battle-weeds rattled, war-burnies clattered. The wielder they thanked that the ways o' the water had waxen so gentle. Then well from the cliff-edge the guard of the Scyldings, who the sea-cliffs should see to, saw o'er the gangway brave ones bearing beauteous targets, armour all ready. Anxiously thought he, musing and wondering what men were approaching. High on his horse then, Hrothgar's retainer turned him to coastward, mightily brandished his lance in his hands, questioned with boldness. Who are ye men here, mail-covered warriors, clad in your corslets? Come thus a-driving a high-riding ship o'er the shoals of the waters, and hither 'neath helmets have hied o'er the ocean. I have been strand-guard, standing as warden, lest enemies ever anywise ravage Danish dominions with army of warships. More boldly never have warriors ventured hither to come. Of kinsmen's approval, word leave of warriors, I ween that ye surely nothing have known. Never a greater one of earls o' the earth have I ever had a sight of than is one of your number, a hero in armour, no low-ranking fellow adorned with his weapons, but launching them little, unless looks are deceiving, and striking appearance. Ere you pass on your journey, as treacherous spies to the land of the Scyldings, and farther fare, I fully must know now what race ye belong to. Ye far-away dwellers, seafaring sailors, my simple opinion hear ye and hearken. Haste is most fitting plainly to tell me what place ye are come from.